anybody send me something yesterday on their mind? Brainstorming Monday, Tuesday, maybe we're not even here Tuesday.
Oh, I didn't.
So like Brewer was like, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about. She's like, yeah, Tuesday. I'm like, what? What do we do? I'm like, I was gonna get it, let it be. Right? I figured it. Here, you do. Matt, did you notice a incorrectness or discrepancy in the wine text that I sent out yesterday? Or were you just admiring your daughter? How cute she is. I like these. Little black and white coaster. Yeah. I said I'm planning for Monday, Tuesday this week. What are we gonna do? What's the problem? We were like, this one. Should I? Yes.
I don't want to say word.
What's another year?
Because of CTC graduation. Free periods.
Do what?
You just have free periods.
We should. Try to third way back.
Wow.
All over my back.
I'm the cleaner today.
Yes. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
Are you taking the AP test? Yeah?
No.
No.
I need to know the people.
Sorry, there's nothing.
But like, are you gonna
I'm pretty much just doing it so I didn't take the test Friday. That's to be
Oh, really?
completely honest, yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm taking the AP physics test because if I took it, then I get exempt the in-class test on Friday.
You just spent like $90.
Pretty much.
I took it and if I'd studied, I don't think it would have been that bad.
Yeah. Well, like my mom's like, she's like, you should just take it, you know, get ready for college and see what it's gonna be like.
So Lydia is also going to Ohio State now.
Yep.
We have more people. Lydia, Tanya, me, you, Adele. Who else? Emily and Maddie, right? Emily's not?
So
I thought she was.
everyone she's friends with is going to Ohio State
But
Center.
I thought she was
Man, man. I feel so bad for her.
Yeah,
She's
that
so sad.
sucks. Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah. I dropped out of the, so literally, it's so awkward. They sent an email how to drop out of honors, and I did it. It showed a white screen. I was like, with no option, no option. And I was like, wow. And I tried it like 4 different times, and just a white screen every time. So I'm really hoping that just means I'm out.
Yeah.
I called them and I was like, for the record, so I should still be able to drop it.
Yeah. I never even applied for it. I did not sign close
I was for sure gonna do it, and I talked to everyone.
And I said no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, the honor program.
That's so cute. It's a real
There's so many minutes spent when I was doing it. I was like, wow.
I can see everywhere.
What do you mean? He's like, you're already college engineering, you do honors.
Yeah.
You're right.
If daddy signs a fair law, then no, we're not gonna do it.
I was, okay, so I looked up a bunch of TikToks. You could do, different.
Oh, yeah.
Wait,
So they're doing like a CTC thing, so all the
Everything
seniors
that tells you to do,
everyone.
yes.
Emily goes, yes.
She'll rub my feet.
What? She rubs your feet?
Okay. Are you giving them that pop quiz on verifying drug identities today?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
I have no idea rubbing your feet first.
When I rub your feet, you ask me.
Oh, who's rubbing feet?
And,
We're live on the internet here.
we're much friends with President Pell. How long is that? I don't know.
Where's Anna been?
In the middle. AP Gov Fest. Oh, yeah.
What?
And then
No, we're getting old.
there's another one.
No one took the credit.
Anna.
I'm assuming.
For the AP English, because I haven't even written this.
I haven't either.
I'm trying my hair.
I'm stupid, but I got a 2 on the AP English last year.
What? We have all
Yeah.
that.
Did you
No.
take this?
I was dancing during this.
What?
Because I was like,
Oh,
That's not a good idea.
yeah, it's.
Dude, I got a 4 on it.
I'm just very
Yeah.
Anything like
You don't want me to atmosphere?
Yeah, I'm so bad at English.
I guess because I did a difference.
No.
Colin, you really could have just not danced. and-
Thursday.
It was literally one essay.
I know why.
See, you know, I don't know.
Let me go out in the hall.
I literally thought it was I was like, it's coming.
I don't want to. It'll get loud.
Is she in that?
I think so.
I thought you were taking
Uh,
that yesterday.
If you go to like cover, just like photo project, well, that was boring. And
You like
so
photo projects?
I like the end. I'm just gonna hear the end. It was so loud.
Okay, so this was pretty good. The grades on this were really good. I probably don't even really need to go over it.
Can I use a calculator? Or no?
I guess.
I think I'm so similar. What? Our sibling. We didn't have it.
Oh, yeah, but the test, it was a test.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Are we ever getting this back?
What?
The test.
Oh, yeah. I can get those back. Those have been sitting on my desk for a while. Absolutely. I'll get that to you before you leave. Just don't forget. So we have to talk about the rest of this week, right? Tomorrow is apparently a free day. Wednesday, I guess we'll do the same kind of thing that we've been doing. So Wednesday, we'll do it at 2:00.
Not Tuesday.
What?
Not Tuesday though.
Not Tuesday. I can't tomorrow anyway if I wanted to because I have meetings, all day tomorrow. So Wednesday at 2, we will go over what I'm going to give you for homework today, and you can ask questions about that. Thursday and Friday, I will teach you how to build a series using the formula, which is the last way. And then I was wanting to have our last test on Tuesday of next week so that those of you that were seniors could have a day to ask questions beforehand if you wanted to. And then as far as the exam is concerned, I will have it ready on Thursday of next week. But you will just have to take it, like if you're a senior, you'll have to take it sometime after that before the following Thursday, which would be when you graduate. I mean, I'm not worried about anybody not passing or anything like that, like, so that you're not gonna graduate, you know. People who maybe need to take the exam because they're gonna fail and not graduate, like, that's not the case with anybody in here, so. And I guess we'll have more specific timelines, like for those guys, for the exam, like as we get closer. Because I'll kind of need to know when you're going to take it. It might be easier if I just offer like 4 different times and just pick one of those. I don't know if I can have it. I'm going to come Tuesday at 12:13, and then 17 other people are going to come on Wednesday at 12, or Tuesday at 12:15. We're good with that? Beautiful, beautiful. It's freezing in here. It's so freezing in here. Well, let's talk about your homework from last night. Woo! Chow, when's the AP test? Are you doing like the 27th or something? 24th?
Yeah.
So when these guys are all gone, you and I can work on stuff that to help you get ready for that. So I had you writing the first 4 terms and the sigma form for each one of these guys, right? So in order to do this, my friends, we've got to know these. Hey. We've got to know these power series forms of these functions, right? So e to the x is this. Sine of x is this. Yes? Cosine of x is these. And is that all of them? Did we get this one? Yeah, we did this one. 1 over 1 minus x? Yeah. That one's just. That's all of them that we want so far, right? Now, in 4th period on Friday, we actually did inverse tangent. We got to that one. For some reason, I don't know why, you guys took way longer on the quiz than we did. So, give more time. All right, so you ready? So we got to know those 4. We're going to add another one here in a minute. Okay, well, we got to know those 4, all right? So, like, number 1, if you know this, number 1's easy. Because you just do what? What do you do? Plug what in? Negative x squared, right. So e to the negative x squared is going to equal. It's actually easier to probably just do the sigma first. Okay. And then the first 4 terms, okay? Well, the first 4 terms, if you think about the series for e to the x, is 1 plus x squared over 2 factorial plus x cubed over 3 factorial. E to the negative x squared is going to be 1 plus negative x squared plus negative x squared squared over 2 factorial plus negative x, whoopsie, negative x squared cubed over 3 factorial. Oops, I shouldn't use equal there, should I? Should put a colon. Okay? Now, what happens when we simplify that? Well, if you notice, we're going to have, this was positive, this one's negative, this one's positive, this one will be negative, because the odd powers are going to have a negative, right? So if we're going to simplify this, we could have written it like this. Negative 1 to the n, x to the 2n over n factorial. Okay? Question on that? All right, let's do number 2. 1 over 1 plus x. So we're going to build that from the series for 1 over 1 minus x. What do we need to plug in to 1 over 1 minus x so that it becomes 1 over 1 plus x? Negative x. So we do it like this. We'll say it's negative 1 over 1 minus x is 1 plus x squared plus x cubed plus x to the 4th, right? So now we're going to do this. 1 over 1 plus x is equal to 1 over 1 minus negative x. So what's that going to look like? 1 plus negative x squared negative x cubed. Oh, I got 4 terms, right? That's all I wanted. What's the sigma form going to be? Negative x to the n. But I hope you see that that's equal to negative 1 to the n, x to the n. Okay? That's helpful to recognize that. All right. So now let's jump down to number 6. Wouldn't it make sense to do number 6 after we just did number 2? Because what's number 6 asking us for? The antiderivative? Yep. So all we have to do then, my friends, is anti-differentiate each one of these terms. Yeah? So what's the antiderivative of 1? X. What's the antiderivative of negative x? Negative x squared over 2. Right? Plus, what's the antiderivative of, well, this one's going to be positive, right? What's the antiderivative of x squared? X cubed over 3. And then what's the next one? Minus x to the 4th over 4. Plus dot, dot, dot. So maybe we should sigmatize this. So what do we do here? What's the antiderivative of this going to be? The negative 1 to the n is going to still be there because we have plus, minus, plus, minus. What about the x part? X to the n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. Yep. Question.
I did because I didn't expand it like I meant with the negative 1 to the n. So I had negative x to the n plus 1. Would that not be right?
It would be right, but it's probably better to leave it or it's probably better to put it like this for what I'm about to say, because of what I'm about to tell you. My friends, what is the antiderivative of 1 over 1 plus x? I was sweating profusely. Like I was about to just drop dead of a heart attack. The antiderivative of 1 over 1 plus x is the natural log of 1 plus x, right? So what did we just find here? This is the series for the natural log of 1 plus x. So I'm going to add this to my list. X minus x squared over 2 plus x cubed over 3 minus x to the 4th over 4 plus so Ellie, that's why I would say think of it that way, because it ended up equaling something else. So you remember that time we talked about rearranging the terms of the alternating harmonic series and how we showed it added up to different things? Remember that? Am I making that up? Okay. And remember I said, oh, I'm going to tell you this equals the natural log of 2. Just trust me, this equals the natural log of 2. And I said, just believe that for right now. Remember that? Yeah. What would happen if I plugged x equals 1 into this? I'd get natural log of 2, right? So what happens if I plug x equals 1 into this? What am I going to get? 1 minus 1/2 plus 1/3 minus 1/4. So it is the natural log of 2. Okay? Woo! Kind of interesting. All right, what's next? Oh, well, now I think you can do number 6. Five. You can do number 5. So this actually wasn't number 3. This was number 6, right? This was number 3, and then this was number 6. Now we can do number 5. Because I know the natural log of 1 plus x was x minus x squared over 2 plus x cubed over 3 minus x to the 4th over 4, yada, yada, yada. So what's the natural log of 1 plus x squared? How are you going to get that? Log n x squared. X squared minus x squared squared over 2 plus x squared cubed over 3 plus x squared to the 4th over 4, yada, yada, yada. Can you sigmatize that? -1 to the n, x squared to the 2n plus 1 over 2n plus 1.
Why is it x squared to 2n instead of just n?
Oh, it is n plus 1. I'm sorry. That was a typo. In fact, I was checking that in my head as you said that, and I was like, oh, I got this one checked. But yeah, you're right. Thanks. This one's n plus 1 also. Good catch. All right. So what's next?
Sine of 2x squared.
Sine of 2x squared. Can I erase this? Are we good on this? Sine of 2x squared. So that means we're gonna plug in 2x squared into sine of x. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and write out sine of x first. That's x minus x cubed over 3 factorial plus this over 5 factorial. So sine of 2x squared is just going to be 2x minus 2x cubed over 3 factorial plus 2x to the 5th over 5 factorial minus. Like good? 2x squared. Easy fix, right? So now what's that going to be when we sigmatize it? -1 to the n, 2x squared to the 2n plus 1 over 2n plus 1 factorial. You want to leave it like that? I mean, you want to leave it like that? Yeah, we can leave it like that. Nobody wants to deal with that 2. I mean, what does it look like? I'm okay if you leave it like this, but I think I'd be a bad person if I didn't show you what it looked like. So this is really like 2 to the 2n plus 1. I'm sorry. Yeah, 2 to the 2n plus 1 times x to the 4n plus 2 over 2n plus 1 factorial. I mean, in all honesty, is that any better? No, not really. Okay, what's next? Wow, this one's a beast. X squared cosine of x squared. Okay, so first I guess we'll do cosine of x. We'll build this off cosine of x, yeah? So cosine of x, 1 minus x squared over 2 factorial plus x to the 4th over 4 factorial minus x to the 6th factorial, yada, yada, yada. So what's cosine of x squared? X squared squared over 2 factorial plus x squared to the 4th over 4 factorial minus x squared to the 6th over 6 factorial, yada, yada, yada. Okay, what's x squared times that? So now we're going to multiply everybody by x squared, yeah? Woohoo! X squared. Oh, minus x squared times x squared squared over 2 factorial plus x squared times x squared to the 4th over 4 factorial minus x squared times x squared to the 6th over 6 factorial, yada, yada, yada. Now this one probably is a little nicer if we clean it up. That's -1 to the n, x squared times x squared to the 2n over 2n factorial. Amy, did you clean this one up? Or did you leave it like that?
I normally don't think so.
No, you normally don't. You like to just leave stuff messy. Do you clean your room? Does your mom come in and be like, Emmy, clean up your room? So, what's going to be the power on x? When did you get here? Yesterday. Oh, wow. How long have you been sitting here? What's going to be the power on x? I mean, not cleaning that up is correct. I mean, what we had there is correct. But I would argue that this one is actually probably better to clean up than, I mean, this last one we did, yeah. I think this is 6 1/2 dozen the other. I mean, I don't think this one's any, I mean, we cleaned this one up to this, but it's not really any better than that. But this one's gonna become very nice. What's gonna be the power on X? 4 plus 2, good. So you guys know sum algebra. Over 2n factorial. Sweet. Do you need me, or are you just here to hang out? I'm saying, do some power series. So we feel pretty good about BANFO, BANFO, build a new from old. What's the key that you got? What's the key with this? You got to know this, guys. Okay? And if there were more time, normally in a normal non-COVID year, we would have a quiz where it's an all or nothing. Where I have this little box, and I don't know where it is. I have a little box of all these. Oh, here it is. This little box of series. See, they're all in there. And I would just go and give you one, and I would say, oh, here you go. And then you have to tell me what it is and what sigma form it is. Or if I give you the sigma form, you have to write out the terms and tell me what function. And it would be all or nothing. Do you know what that one is?
Is it something we've done?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's on the board, actually.
Is it?
Look carefully. It can't be cosine. There's odd powers here. That's the same one I just gave her. You know what one that is? Do you know what that is? No, this is just for fun. I mean, I didn't tell you I had to do this today. Like, that would have been. Ooh, that's good. That one's on the board. Better be. You know which one that is? Did you figure it out? Ellie, did you figure it out?
Yeah.
What is it? I gave Ellie the terms listed out. Ellie and Emmy got the same one.
Okay, is it like?
It's because we didn't.
Well, look at that. I gave you all three the same one. Which one is it, Ellie?
It's
It's EBX, yeah. So I gave her all the terms listed out, which is what I can see, like you guys can see. So yeah. You know where this little 10 came from? Someone that was selling, some group was selling, some organization was selling, and they had a little catalog full of just junk that you don't really want. This was filled with turtles, not like real turtles, like candy turtles. I love those things. And so in the picture, there's this like box, and it's like overflowing with chocolate turtles, and it just looked delicious, and it was $20. And then this thing shows up, and it's like got a little bag, and there's like 6 turtles. Really made use of the box. Okay. What if I gave you this? I don't know why this is in red, but it is. If I gave you that, and I said, what's the sum of that? Or what's that converge to? That's a series of constants, right? Like this could be a problem that we could have had 2 weeks ago, where I could have just said, hey, does this converge or diverge? And you would have performed some test on it and found that it converged. Presumably, you would have performed the ratio test, right? But yeah, it converges big time. But you actually can tell me what it converges to. Maybe do you know? You have a look in your face, in your eyes.
No.
And I'm still trying to figure out Emmy looks. And I only got 2 more weeks to figure it out. What does that look like? Looks like e to the x. But instead of e to the x, it's like e to the x with 3 plugged in, right? Isn't that what that looks like?
Yeah.
And guess what it is? E to the x with 3 plugged in. This is actually equal to e cubed. Right? Okay. Do this for me. Write me a series for, not that. Write me a series for this. Now it should be easy. Why? It should be easy. Because you have a series already for 1 over 1 plus x. We just did it. Sadly, I erased it, but. Anna Sarmer, what was 1 over 1 plus x? Do you have it? We're going to do this together, because I just realized we're running out of time. Well, that was the same thing. No, that was the antiderivative, the one before that. Which would have been number 2 on your, what was your answer to number 2 on your homework? Yeah, what's the series for that one? Yeah, tell me the terms. Like that? Okay. And then you just now told me that was this. I think we rewrote it like this. Right? Agreed? Okay. So then what's 1 over 1 plus x squared? So we're just going to take this series right here and plug in x squared. So that'll be 1 plus negative x squared plus negative x squared squared plus negative x squared cubed, right? Plus dot dot dot. And we'll go ahead and sigmatize this. Negative 1 to the n, x squared to the n, right? Okay, then do this for me. The antiderivative of that. Just differentiate them term by term. What's the antiderivative of this guy? X. What's the antiderivative of this guy? Minus x cubed over 3. What's the antiderivative of this guy? Now be careful, because we're going to square that negative, right? So he's going to go away. So that'll be x to the 4th, but now anti-differentiate that, it'll be x to the fifth over 5. What's the antiderivative of this guy? The minus is going to be there. X to the 7th over 7 plus dot dot dot. Okay. You want to stigmatize it? -1 to the n. X to the 2n plus 1 over 2n plus 1. But kiddos, what is the antiderivative of 1 over 1 plus x squared?
Sine?
No.
No, wait.
Oh, inverse tangent.
Inverse tangent. So that's the series for inverse tangent of x. So we could actually add him over here to our little power list. I'm not sure I'm going to make you memorize any of these. I haven't decided, actually. Yeah.
Okay, so the only difference between that and sine would be the.
Factorial. Yeah. The only difference between the inverse tangent power series and the series for sine is the factorial. Everything else is the exact same. Okay, now, ready? What would this be then? If I wrote out some terms of this, it's going to be 1 minus a third plus a fifth minus a seventh plus a ninth, etc. So that's inverse tangent of 1, which is pi over 4. So pi over 4 is 1 minus a third plus a fifth minus a seventh plus a ninth, etc. What would happen if I multiplied both sides of that by 4? So pi is 4 minus 4 thirds plus 4 fifths minus 4 sevenths plus 4 ninths, and so forth. That's one way that you can approximate pi. Now that actually converges really, really slowly. You have to go like 1,000 terms before you even get 3.14. But it is equal pi. So now you've got another series that you can play with here. Well, you got 2 more. Natural log of 1 plus x, and then inverse tangent of x, right? So here, my friends, this has all been recorded for your viewing pleasure. Now, I actually got the recording started like before in the class change, so there's 6 minutes of like watching them clean off the desks and probably saying nasty things about other people behind their backs. You can just leave one. Okay. This is your homework. That's that guy.
Wait, why is it still where's everyone else?
Yeah, I'll go on there.
Well,
CTC.
that's where we were. I guess we just got back to that.
Yeah, they
This is it. The AP kids can come in not next period, so period 6, 7 to study.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay.
Is that why he came in here?
Yeah. I'm sure it is. You told me that.
Oh, yeah, here.
Oh, the test.
Mr. Renner, did you go over the homework problems in your class?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
For you.
'Cause
Yeah, the one that we got over.
Julia. Ellie. Annie. Oh, yeah. You can put your little slip in the box. Annie. Actually, right there. Yeah. Anna. How old are you?
Hey, Jimmy. Are you going to school on again? Yeah, I didn't know.
You learned.
You learned it in
I still don't even know what that is.
Never missed it.
My maternal grandmother, my dad.
Did they have like your age?
I was, it's not that.
Right.
I had.
Not if she goes into the other. Be a friend, Anna. That's a true friend. Whoever beats You're like, are you wearing
Remember last time I was like, I love the.
Yes.
We did our,
It's all day.
Yeah, you
Are you
gotta
really?
do Friday.
we did it. Well, I'll give it to you until you guys come back.
What did you get on that? Oh, yeah.
Let's be honest.
What's done is done. Oh, yeah. I work later than dinner on Mother's Day. I literally work 4 to 9. Oh my god. I feel so
That should be next.
Here we go, here. Oh, you just want to see.
Yeah. Alright,
I'll post it in classroom, all the like, the
It
things.
was really fast. They just said a bunch of names for about 40 minutes and just walked on.
I was familiar.
What else? No.
I'm going to see everybody else. You're a senior, what are they gonna do? Not fun, right?
Can you please do that? I think graduation is probably not really. My parents would really, but if it was up to me, I would. Sure. Like, yeah, this is a big if. Sure. Oh, I got it for graduation. So we're good. I'm scared. I am dumb and dumber.
Yeah, you are.
I am both the dumb and dumber. No, our whole group would probably go. Like, half of us in orange suits, half of us in that would be.
Yeah, I went to first period and we did an assignment, but after that, I've just been sitting in the floor.
Guys, guess what frog I drew up there? The one on the right.
Wait, do we have class on Wednesday this week?
They'll probably tell us to that.
Because he can't have us coming out Tuesday.
You're not gonna do Thursday or Friday.
Okay, you got like
Wait, when's our AP test for English? Wait, do you take your AP test for English during June or summer? No.
Because you take AP English, junior, and then AP Lit.
There's another one.
You just have to write an essay? It's like 3 essays.
Oh.
No,
That's so fun. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna go and you're gonna do it and you're gonna get like a 2, but you're gonna be fine.
not good. I'm gonna get distracted. And I'm gonna lose track of time. Not have time.
You're still doing the first essay with like 5 minutes.
What?
You're still doing the first essay.
That's what I'm terrified of. Like, they're gonna be like, all right, half an hour left, and I'm gonna be like,
How much
halfway through the
time do
first
you
one.
get?
55 minutes for one and then 40 minutes for the other two.
Except
But like they
it's-
don't tell
yeah,
you,
they don't tell, like, it's just like 2 hours and 15 minutes.
and you just have to do it.
How long are the essays? However long you want.
So you do a rhetorical analysis essay,
An argument.
an argument essay, which is
synthesis.
like from your brain. You have to like use your
You
own.
have to argue from your own
So you
mind.
can get like sources for your.
Well,
No,
that's
that's the
the
synthesis.
synthesis. Is you do a bunch of sources. That's when you have 55 minutes on because you have to read all that stuff. And then you have to pull stuff.
And then the other ones you just make stuff up.
The rhetorical analysis, you
Stop.
have to like
You're joking.
analyze like.
Listen, last year.
Yeah.
Why?
Because there's online.
So the rhetorical analysis, you like analyze like the word choices and like the appeals that like the author makes to like, get across his point. And then the argument you just pull.
Alright.
The argument's easy. You just like
What?
you just sit there and talk. That's what I did. Then I showed you.
Oh, yeah, we just do three books. I don't have the right. You're gonna put icy hot on my hand before I go.
Honestly, it's not bad.
It's chilly willy in here, friends.
I like it. Yeah, you guys might hold my hand. I don't know. Cause I'm typed harder than I can write. Probably.
I can write a lot faster than I can type.
Yeah, I don't like typing. I'm not good at typing.
But I also don't know how to type.
Yeah, we did typing in middle school, and then I just never learned how to do it the right way.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just.
Like I don't do like this, but I do it, but not like the right way.
Like my fingers go like all over the place.
I hunt and peck.
Not really.
I worked at the.
From
No, I don't know.
worked my scout lodge or whatever for like a year. So I really got to take it. That you do like you just write a lot. It's like you get like 2 hours and you have to like write like 5 pages. of
Hey,
stuff.
cool.
Do we have a class on Wednesday?
Yes.
At 2?
So what we're gonna go
I
over.
guess I can't go to.
Can't what?
I was supposed to plant flowers.
Wait, we are having class on Wednesday?
I did it.
Okay, so this quiz, pretty good for the most part. You always have some algebra problems with, like dealing with things like this. And you're going to find the n plus 1th term, and it's like x to the 2n. When you do the n plus 1th term, that's 2 times n plus 1 like that. So that's 2n plus 2. So then when you simplify that with x squared or x to the, or with x to the 2n, it becomes x squared. Like that was on number 1. X squared is what should have come out of that limit, not just X. And then a couple similar issues on the backside. But lots of 15 out of 15s on this. It was great. Number 2 actually was a homework problem. Yeah, fantastic. Let's talk about this week. So this week, today we're going to do one more day of Banfo stuff. I'm going to give you another homework on that. Wednesday of this week is when I'll go over this homework that we're giving you today. So we'll meet on Wednesday at 2. Everyone. I don't think everybody will come, so I'm not worried about it. I mean, she's going to come to college, so. And I'll also live stream it too, so you can. Then Thursday and Friday we'll learn the formula for building a series. And then we'll essentially be done. Our last test over all of this stuff will be on Tuesday of next week. So that'll be a week from tomorrow. We'll have our last test. Now Monday of that week, that'll be the seniors' first day out. We'll do some review for that. I'll answer questions and stuff. I wanted to have that test. I wanted at least a day in there so seniors could have an opportunity to ask questions if they wanted to before that last test. And then as far as the exam is concerned for seniors, I will have your exam ready on Thursday of next week. And then I will have a few times, I'll probably choose like 4 different time slots between Thursday and next week and Thursday the following week when you have graduation, where you can pick a time slot to take the exam. Right? We can't really do it during, well, we could do it during this class period, I suppose. We could do it back-to-back periods, I suppose, for seniors. You could come in like during the 3rd period hour and just take the exam. So.
Can you do that?
What?
Can juniors do that too? Can I still have to do it here?
I don't know. What's your 3rd
For
period?
work.
Huh?
For work.
Oh, yeah, you just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I don't.
Huh? I'm not even touching Spanish for the 10 foot.
You have.
So
Someone else.
I think that's the best sort of plan. There are some seniors I think that are just gonna want to get it over with and they don't care, and then others like they want to make sure they're studying, they do well. So I can meet you where you are. So
for not being able to do part
whenever. Yeah, I mean we'll work out sometime. Like I probably am gonna, you could take it during one of those other time slots that they take it if it works for you. If not, then we'll figure out a time when you're not. Yeah.
Are you gonna put out like a list of like topics?
Yeah. I have not made up your exam yet. Yeah.
Are we coming in next Monday?
That will be up to you.
Okay.
If you're a senior, that will be up to you to come in next Monday. If you want, I just wanted you to have time to answer, for me to be able to answer questions before you do the last test. So, me and Samuel and Mia, like we'll sit here, do whatever. But if you want to come in and ask questions, you're certainly welcome.
What's the weighting on the exam compared to just our quarterly grades?
I think it's 20.
Yeah, 44.
Yeah, I mean, technically, probably with Wright State, it should be 25, but, and what I traditionally will do is if you do really well in the exam and the 25 will
if that pushed you over a letter grade, I would just count at 25. But it's easier for me just to wait at 20 because I don't have to recalculate everything. So, because Power School will do the calculation for me. Other questions?
If we wanted to like take the test on Tuesday, like start hearing something.
You mean the last test?
Yeah.
No. That's fine. Yeah, as far as when you seniors do what you get your stuff done, like when you take that test, I mean, I'd like everybody to take that test on Tuesday, but if you take it Tuesday during third period, that's fine. If you take it Tuesday afternoon, that's fine. I'm pretty flexible on that. All right, you ready to talk about the homework? Woo! So I actually think in this class on Friday, we wrote a series for inverse tangent of x, didn't we? And we did the whole like, oh, this is how you approximate pi.
Yeah.
Because I threw some shade on third period for that. Because I said, like, told them, well, fourth period, they finished their quiz before you guys. So we had more time. So much far superior. Not really. But okay, I gotta find a paper. I got papers all over this room. Also, don't leave here without getting your test back. You know your series of constants test, which I've had for a while. They're starting to get them back. Okay. So let's run through these guys. The series for e to the negative x squared. So we're going to use e to the x for that. So when I do the Banfo technique, I typically, if I choose the series I'm going to use, and I write out it first, just because it's easier for me to see. Okay. And then e to the negative x squared is going to just be this. 1 plus negative x squared plus negative x squared over 2 factorial plus negative x squared cubed over 3 factorial plus dot, dot, dot. And then we're going to sigmatize this baby. So that's going to be negative x squared to the n over n factorial. Yeah? Which is equal to this. And you know, we could have a little bit of a debate on as far as to like, do we have to do that? Is Billy coming today? It should just be factorial, yeah. Sorry. I'm so used to writing those. See? Was Billy in the AP test? Do we know?
Yes, he's in AP class.
All right. So we good on that? Everybody feel happy? I feel happy. What's next? One over 1 plus x? Oh, okay. What series are we going to build that off of? One over 1 minus x? We built this series. Let's see. Okay. 1 over 1 minus x is 1 plus x squared plus x cubed plus x to the 4, yada, yada, yada. So 1 over 1 plus x is actually equal to 1 over 1 minus negative x. Yep. So that's going to be 1 plus a negative x plus a negative x squared plus a negative x cubed plus a negative x to the fourth. I probably gave more terms than necessary there, didn't I? I just said 4. All right, let's sigmatize this. Well, we could. We could do that first, simplify it. Now sigmatize it. So it's negative x to the n. Yep. Which I think it's important that we recognize that that's equal to negative 1 to the n, x to the n. Okay. Things are just easier to work with when they're like this. Okay. Now I think it only makes sense that we do number 6 next. Right? Because we just found a series for 1 over 1 plus x. And then number 6 is asking for the antiderivative of that series, or that function. So the antiderivative of 1 over 1 plus x is just going to be take the series for 1 over 1 plus x, which is right here, and antidifferentiate him. Yeah? So what's the first term? X minus x squared over 2 plus x cubed over 3 minus x to the 4th over 4. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah? And then if we sigmatize this, it's going to be, see, now here's what, look. This is why it's easier to, when I did this right here, and I rewrote that as negative 1 to the n, x to the n, it's easier to work with when it's like this, because I can anti-differentiate this real easy. The negative 1 to the n ain't going anywhere. The only thing I got to anti-differentiate now is x to the n, right? Which is x to the n plus 1 over n plus 1. Okay? If I had to, if you left it like this, and you had to anti-differentiate in this form, then you have a chain rule problem, or a U sub problem. You'd have to U sub each one of the terms. Probably just better to leave it like that. Okay? Now, my friends, Billy yesterday texted me. I think it was yesterday. I got a text from Billy. Have we learned the series for natural law? Because he was thinking about how am I going to do number 5. Because he didn't know the series for natural law, so he didn't know how to build that one from the natural law. And I said, we haven't learned the series for natural law, but you might be able to come up with one from your answer to the last question. Because, my friends, what is the antiderivative of 1 over 1 plus x? If I took you on a trip back to, say, January, and said, when we learned about antiderivatives, maybe even December, what's the antiderivative of 1 over 1 plus x? The natural log of 1 plus x. So this series that you just wrote down here, my friends, is the series for natural log of 1 plus x. You could actually add it to our little list of our power list here. So that should make doing number 5 real easy. What's number 5 going to be? If this is the series for natural log of 1 plus x, what's the series for natural log of 1 plus x squared? So what are we going to do? Plug in x squared into this guy, right? So that's going to be x squared minus x squared squared over 2 plus x squared cubed over 3 minus x squared to the 4th over 4, yada, yada, yada. So what is it when we sigmatize it? It's going to be x squared to the n plus 1 over n plus 1. Yeah.
Not what I got when I did it though. I did something else. I'm not sure if I did wrong. I got over 2n plus 1. How I did it is I just found like 1 over 1 plus x squared, what that would be, and then I did the integral of that.
The integral of 1 over 1 plus x squared is not natural log of 1 plus x squared. It's inverse tangent, which is this one.
That's what I got. That's
Yeah.
what I got done.
So after I simplify this, it's going to be this. Negative 1 to the n, x to the 2n plus 1 over n plus 1. 2n plus 2, thank you. So let's go back in time a little bit, a few weeks. And if you remember, a few weeks ago, we talked about conditionally converging series. And we talked about how you can rearrange the terms of a conditionally converging series to make it add up to different things. Remember that? And the example that I showed you was with the alternating harmonic series. And if you remember, I said we started off with 1 minus a half plus a third minus a fourth and so forth. And I said this is equal to the natural log of 2. You just have to trust me. But right now, this is equal to the natural log of 2. Remember that? So this right here is equal to the natural log of 1 plus x, right? What would happen if I plug in x equals 1? I would have natural log of 1 plus 1, which is natural log of 2. What happens if I plug in x equals 1 here? I get 1 minus a half plus a third minus a fourth. That's the alternating harmonic series. That's why it's equal to natural log of 2. In fact, you could even plug in x equals 1 into this one. And you're going to get 1 minus a half plus a third. It should be minus a fourth. That minus goes down. Isn't that kind of clever? Okay, what's next? What's next? What's our next problem? Sine of 2x squared. I have to erase this. Okay, so sine of 2x squared, is that it? Who are we building this off of? Sine of 1x. So that's x minus x cubed over 3 factorial plus x to the 5th over 5 factorial minus x to the 7 over 7 factorial. Yada, yada, yada. So sine of 2x squared will be 2x squared minus 2x squared cubed over 3 factorial plus 2x squared to the 5th over 5 factorial minus 2x squared to the 7 over 7 factorial, yada, yada, yada. Can you sigmatize that? Yeah.
If you have two numbers that are to the same power, can you multiply the two? You have,
Can you say that again?
like if you had like a to the n plus, or not a, or a to the n times b to the n, you change that to like
A times b to the n?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what we're going to reverse that right now. Yeah.
That's how it has.
So the question is do we simplify this or do we clean that up? How many of you just want to leave it like that? This signal form. You want to leave it like this. Carrie, aren't you our simplifying person? Do we simplify that? What do you think? You comfortable leaving it like that? What would happen if we did? It would be 2 to the 2n plus 1 times x to the 4n plus 2 over 2n plus 1 factorial, right? Now, I'm going to argue that in this particular case, I'm not sure that that's any more helpful. Okay? The only way it would be more helpful is if I had to anti-differentiate. If I had to anti-differentiate this, like for example, if I was asking for the antiderivative of sine of 2x squared and I had to anti-differentiate this, then it would be helpful to have it like this. Okay? But if I'm not asking for that, you can just leave it like that. All right? Field day? You guys hear that? Is that children screaming or is that the fan? Oh. Oh. Okay. It is May. So yes. What's our next one? X squared cosine x squared. Ooh, baby. Which one? Could I simplify that even more?
1 to 2 times 2 to the 2n, and then 2 to 2 times 4 to the n, and just make it minus 4 to the n times 2.
2 to the 2n plus 1 is 2 to the 2n times 2 to the 1. And then do what?
Change that 2 to the 2n to 4 to the n. It's 2 squared times the n.
Oh, Lord.
And
Yeah.
Take that minus 4 to the n. You can find it within minus 1 to the n.
You could. Well played. I like it. Huh? Do you have to do that? No. Do you have to do that if you had to anti-differentiate it? No. I mean, because you could still leave it like that. Now, if you did that when you anti-differentiated and you had to write out the terms, then this is going to have the terms nicely. They're going to look beautiful. Okay, so what's cosine of x squared? Let's do him first. It's going to be 1 minus x squared squared over 2 factorial plus x squared to the 4th over 4 factorial minus x squared to the 6th over 6 factorial, yada, 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 right? So what's x squared times cosine x squared? What do we do with that? Multiply everything by x squared. Well, before I do that, maybe I won't. X squared squared over 2 factorial plus x squared to the 4th over 4 factorial minus x squared to the 6th over 6 factorial. Yada, yada, yada. So if I was going to simplify this, 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 8. Is that right? No. 8 plus 2 is 10. 12 plus 2 is 14. Now what is it if you sigmatize it? -1 to the n. I'm going to write it like this first. X squared times x squared to the 2n over 2n factorial. Now if I simplify it, -1 to the n, x to the 4n plus 2 over 2n factorial. So what's the key to this Banfo thing? Yeah, to know those guys. You got to know them. Now, in a non-COVID year, not in a normal year, everybody has to memorize all those. And normally speaking, we have a quiz where I just we'll walk around and then say, okay, here, I just give you something like this. Or I'm just going to do it for fun right now. This isn't really a quiz. And just give you a piece of paper that either has a bunch of terms listed on it or it has a function. And then you have to tell me what I gave you and what the other missing parts are. So if I gave you the terms, you tell me the sigma and the function. If I gave you the function, you tell me the terms and the sigma. So if I just walk around and gave you one of these, could you do it? Now, clearly, you probably could do it because you're hopefully looking at the answers on the boards, right? Do you know what that is? Inverse tangent, very nice. What? What? You have Illuminati? What is it? What function? Or what do you have? E to the x, very nice. What do you have? Huh? You have inverse tangent also. So you guys are a match. What did you have? Next to the end, yeah. Nice, nice, nice. How are we? See, this was like 100%.
Sign of the X.
Sign of what?
Sign of X.
I thought you said sign to the x.
No.
Or sign of the x.
Sign of the X.
What'd you get? So yeah, this is always a fun thing to do. You know where I got this little 10? You did, actually. What did you have? What'd you have? Oh, a lot of E to the X's. So probably about 16 years ago, some kid was selling something for some organization at school, and they had this catalog, and in this catalog is this picture of this box with these chocolate turtles in them. And it was just overflowing with chocolate turtles, like it looked like there's 50 of them in there. And so I bought one for $20 or something. This is what I got. And inside it was a bag that had like 7 chocolate turtles that I paid $20 for. I got this little
I mean, you got the 10.
10 that I've gotten a lot of use out of. I used to store tape measures in it, apparently. But yeah, we got to know those series, right? What if I gave you this? What if I gave you this? Wait, I don't want this thing spilling all over the place, do it. What if I gave you this? I said, what's the sum of that series? Now, 3 weeks ago, I could have given you that problem, or 2 weeks ago, I could have given you that same thing and said, does that converge or diverge? And you would presumably would have performed some sort of test on that, probably the ratio test, and you would have found that it converged. Well, now I'm telling you that not only do you know that this converges, you can actually tell me what that converges to. What does that look like? It looks like e to the x, but what's different? It's a 3 instead of an x. So it looks like e to the x with a 3 plugged in. So wouldn't that mean it's e to the 3rd? Okay? This actually equals e cubed. Right? Just like on Friday when we showed you how pi over 4 equals 1 minus a 3rd plus a 5th minus a 7th, etc. Okay? We can use these power series to actually write approximations of numbers. You can write a series for e cubed. E is an irrational number. You can write a series for e. What would a series for e look like? If I said, write me a series that would tell me what, that would be E, that would be equal to E. What would that look like? E is the same as e to the 1. What would it look like?
Would it just be that, cube root?
Cube root?
Or like square root but to the third, you know what I'm saying?
You can make it much easier than that. So what would the series of that look like? 1 plus 1 over 2 factorial plus 1 over 3 factorial, 1 over 4 factorial, and so forth. That's an approximation of E. I mean, if you just write out those terms, that's an approximation of E. E is an irrational number. Like, you can't write it as a, as a fraction. I can't say, hey, can you give me E cookies? Like, you can't do that. Whereas I could say, can you give me 5 2/3 cookies? Yeah, you could do that. Just like you couldn't give me pie cookies. It's not a quantity. Yeah.
How do you do factorial on that calculator?
On that calculator,
I think it's you
math.
click math and like scroll left,
Go
scroll right 3
across.
times or something.
Okay.
yeah, let me give you this. This is your homework for tonight, my friendos. Chew on Wednesday.
How do you prove that E is rational? I know, like, for root 2, you can just say that you can't have 2 cosine numbers, but their fraction is equal to root 2.
I don't know off the top of my head.
But my point to be part of it, it's not like a square root. Maybe like it's like that or something.
Okay, so our test papiers. Let's see, no, not here. How many I got? Not here, not here, not here, wrong class. So 8A Ron. That's a
That's what I said.
Well, I got told this. You should call and get the heat turned on.
what?
Yeah, you should call and get the heat turned on, because.
Well, but otherwise it's freezing. This thing's cranking out cold air like.
Yeah, we should not do that.
What?
Go down.
Turn the heat on?
Yeah.
I just would like it off. I think if it was off and the window open, it would be quite pleasant.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, I'll see you Wednesday, maybe. I think it was 60. Yep. Adios, muchachos. Yeah. I would say if you did that, you did pretty solid on the exam for sure. I don't know the math off the top of my head, but I would say it's definitely possible.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So I guess just it'll be recorded. Yeah, and if you need if you need some time before that last test to regroup, that's totally okay.
Okay, and I can still come in here on Monday.
Yeah, but if you can't take it on Tuesday, I mean, taking 2 AP tests like that, and that's a lot.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to push it off till Wednesday, I'd be totally.
Okay.
Yeah. Putting posters up around school that like have your voice. I think that one like they like covered my dad's one room, like this little room is covered in his face. So that's a good prank. Yeah. Harmless, fun
not fun.
No.
That's not English that no after.
No,
I think there's like.
I don't know that you will be able to take Calc3 online. I mean,
Anyway.
like,
Yeah.
that's traditionally not one that's offered online. Now, I don't know how
Oh, yeah.
schools like Wright State and Sinclair are going to be moving forward when it comes to COVID stuff.
We have a lot of people coming.
Like, you know, I just don't know.
So Austin, hi, so.
I mean, I guess I mean,
What?
I cheered so loud when they like said your name.
what?
What did it? Oh, that's so cool. You should hear it
I mean, I think, well, honestly,
She made it
like,
sound a lot. What? The whole NASA thing.
I would-
Oh. She was like.
I would just think about your reasons for doing IB.
True. Like, that's awesome. That's sweet. Okay, I took back and think about it.
Where you guys going?
We're going to get a football.
And a kickball.
It's
raining.
So?
Well, which you're, I mean, there's 100% truth to that. And I think what you have to start to just, I think what you have to do is sort of look at the,
Were you about to start eating?
the balance between what you just said and is this going to benefit me in terms of my career? Like, you know, and what I want to do. Like,
Don't worry, they're gonna be outside.
Is that Joe that's saying my name? One class.
Probably.
That I had started getting. And then I should be like,
And then lunch was so cheap.
Until I grabbed 2 hours.
but you could just do PSU or you could do college credit plus full time. You never come to step forward. Yeah. And if you do IB, you're gonna have to take the IB math class.
Yeah.
I mean, which is gonna be a joke for you, but I mean, you'll need to take it because you're not gonna get exposed to that content anywhere else.
Yeah. And you can't, you're not allowed to take IB without taking the class. Unfortunately, or else I would just kind of like frustrate myself.
Well, that's not 100% true. No, we've tested kids. I mean, we've given kids the ID tests when they've just taken calculus and then we do the ID test before. But we don't like kids doing that because they're not successful.
Yeah.
Like,
Anything can do that with AP, I didn't know if we could with IB.
it just,
What's up, Wally?
it just works a little